Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Gnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shrivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So here in this verse, another very important characteristic of the spiritual world, Vaikuntha world, is described. And in contrast, the situation of the material world is also described. So the most important characteristic which is described in this verse is that all the opulences in Vaikuntha planets are obtained just by the mercy of the Lord. Nothing else is required. In contrast to that, in the material world, we have to earn these opulences by dint of hard work. In Vaikuntha, the situation is not like that. If one is just serving the Supreme Personality of Godhead, then by the mercy of the Lord, all kinds of opulences are available for the devotees. Another important feature what is described is that even though there is association with the opposite sex, even though there are women who are very attractive, but in spite of that, there is no stimulation of lusty desires. Whereas in the material world, if there is a sense object, then it stimulates our senses. Our mind gets diverted, our intelligence gets pulled. But in the spiritual world, even if there are objects of sense objects, just like for a man, woman is a sense object. For a woman, man is a sense object. But there is no question of stimulus of lusty desires, rajaha. So, these are the two important characteristics which are described in this verse, which we will see. So here Brahma is explaining to the Devatas, Yat Sankulam Hari Padanati Matra Drishter Vaidurya Markata Hema Mayer Vimanaihi. The residents of the spiritual world, Vaikuntha world, they are traveling in all opulences. They are having all opulences of Vaidurya. Vaidurya is a special stone called lapis lazuli. Then Markata, emeralds. Hema Mayer Vimanaihi. Here, our airplanes are made up of some steel, some iron, some aluminium, isn't it? Plastics. You will not find gold. But there, it is made up of precious metal like gold. And it is all bedecked with all kinds of costly stones. Here costly stones are available only for very few people. And that too they will just keep it somewhere in locker. Otherwise if they start using it daily, it will be stolen away, it will be taken away. So whereas we can find that in their day-to-day utility, they utilize all these beautiful, costly stones. So Vaidurya Marakata Hema Mayer Vimanaihi. Their Vimana, it is made up of all these different kinds of costly stones and metals. And how is all this available? Do all these Vaikuntha world people, they go and work from morning to night in some calling center, or they go and work, they are having some big businesses like Infosys. They opened up some big factories there. No, nothing of that sort. We don't hear. If you read Krishna book, Prabhupada specifically mentions there is no such, Krishna does not have to work in some factory. Early in the morning he just goes out to play with his cowherd boys, and he returns, he goes to sleep, and again in the morning. So there is only enjoyment, there is only ananda. There is no such thing as hard work to maintain. So how all these things are possible in the Vaikuntha world? Do they have to work hard to attain all these opulences? In the material world, to attain anything, even to attain the basic necessity of life, you have to work hard. Imagine if you have to obtain some kind of opulences. Opulences means apart from basic necessities of life, definitely you have to work very hard. Isn't it? So, in the Vaikuntha world, the situation is not like that. They are not working hard to attain opulences. Opulences automatically come when they work hard in service of the Lord. See? When they just try to satisfy the Lord, by the mercy of the Lord, everything is attainable. So that is what it is said here. Yat Sankulam, it is all attainable, it is all possible. How it is possible? Hari Padanati Matra Drishtair. These are all obtained, these are all available. Hari Padanati Matra. Matra means only, just by, simply by worshipping the lotus feet of the Lord. See? So just by the mercy of the Lord, this is all possible in the spiritual world. So Prabhupada makes a comparison and Prabhupada points out that the situation of the material world is different, the situation of the spiritual world is different. In the material world, these opulences, success, everything is attainable by lot of endeavor, lot of hard work is involved. And it is not that after hard work it will be attainable. Let us say all of us start working hard, that I will become a millionaire. Is it possible? So hard work also does not guarantee. Hard work is involved, it is required, but that will not guarantee. In the spiritual world, all these factors are not there. In the material world, 5 factors are essential. To attain any success, 5 factors are essential. Out of them, finally, sanction of the Lord is also there. That is most essential. But the Lord sees to it that other 4 factors are also required in the material world. But in the spiritual world, only one factor is there: Krishna's mercy. In the material world, all other 4 factors are definitely required. Even though the 5th factor, Devam, the sanction of the Supreme Lord, is the most essential, but the Lord has made this arrangement because of the living entity. The living entities in the material world, they come out of desire to be independent of the Lord. So the Lord wants to give them that kick. I am the doer. I have done it. You see? So the Lord wants to make them feel, I have achieved. Like I remember, I think many times I have repeated that example, that experience which I had in Bangalore. That once, with my colleague, with my partner, we were going for a life membership preaching somewhere in Malleshwaram, I remember that. So we knocked down on the house, the person was there, and very, generally that is how we used to go. If we see some big car, big bungalow, we would just enter in that house. And so we entered there, and nicely he called everything, but he gave more than half an hour lecture. So his point of discussion there was that why I should give. I have earned. This is all my hard work. Where God has given me. Why I should give to God. You have come to ask for God. Why I should give to God. I have earned. Nothing was available, all these things. See, it's not my father's property. I earned this. I have worked hard. I have come to this position today. Why I should give it to God. So that was his point. We tried to tell him, but he would not listen. So anyway, we had some hopes that at least we are giving him some prasadam. Gradually he will understand. So after I think a year or so, once again we thought of approaching him, and then we went there. And actually, when we knocked on the door, he was not the same person. He was completely broken down. So, he was a middle-aged person, and wife had just passed away. So he was completely shaken up of his whole life. And so then he was saying that I am seeing that everything is not under my control. So I was able to visualize that. See, how he was so much pride that everything he is able to attain. He is in control of the situation. But as the time passes by, everything goes out of our hand. Then we realize it's not just that everything happens with our willingness. So we can see that this is how people think in the material world. We work hard. It is by our endeavor. Why? Because the Lord, He permits this consciousness. Why He permits this? Because this is our desire. We want to come in this material world with this desire. I have done it. I do it. How this is possible? Ahankara vimudhatma kartaham iti manyate. Manyate means he thinks. Karta aham. I am karta. I have done it. I am the doer. Actually, Krishna is telling in Bhagavad Gita, it is not done by him. It is all arranged by Prakriti. Prakriti kriyamanani. Gunai karamani sarvashaha. It is all arranged by three modes of material nature. Even his hard work, it is not by him. It is by the three modes of material nature. Passion is pushing him to work hard. It is just like when you are in a jail, even to get your livelihood, you have to work hard. You are made to work hard. Similarly, we are made to work hard in this material world, even for the basic necessities of life. So, this is the way the Lord has designed this material world. That even though everything is done by Prakriti, Prakriti is supplying on the order of the Lord, but we are made to feel, I have done it. Such a big illusion, just imagine. Actually, we are not doing anything in that sense. We are only desiring. Ours is only desires. Prakriti arranges in a way that if you require this, you'll have to work hard. There are certain factors will be required to attain this. Material world means nothing will come free. Everything you'll have to pay price. So then Prakriti will make you to work hard in that direction. Some endeavor is required, some senses are required, some intelligence is required. All those things will be arranged by Prakriti. And then finally the Lord sanctions. This is how a thing is done in the material world. This is how it is arranged by the Lord in the material world. But the illusion is given to the living entity where he starts thinking, it is all by my hard work. I have done this. Kartaha. So this is all illusion. How it comes about? By ahankara. Because of ahankara. False ego. False ego means false identification. False identification with matter brings about this consciousness that I am the doer. This is the material world. Situation in the spiritual world is not like that. Situation in the spiritual world is everybody works only for the pleasure of Krishna. And there is a hard work. That there is no doubt. Even in the spiritual world, the hard work is done for the pleasure of the Lord. Just like we see all the cowherd boys, they are working for the pleasure of the Lord. Gopis are working for the pleasure of the Lord. Mother Yashoda is working for the pleasure of the Lord. So everybody in the spiritual world is working for the pleasure of the Lord. And just by that, when they work for the pleasure of the Lord, all opulences are available for the devotees. And Prabhupada is saying, don't think it is only in the Vaikuntha world. For a devotee, even in the material world, the Lord arranges. That famous shloka, anybody remembers? Very famous shloka. Yogakshemam vyahami aham. Whatever a devotee lacks, whatever a devotee requires, the Lord personally arranges for his requirement. So, the Lord is not saying that a devotee is working hard. The Lord is saying anyone who is constantly engaged in the service of the Lord, anyone who is constantly engaged in the service of the Lord arranges personally for all his requirements. So, Prabhupada is saying here that in material world, opulences are achieved by materialistic persons by dint of their labor. One cannot enjoy material prosperity unless he works very hard to achieve it. But the devotees of the Lord who are residents of Vaikuntha have the opportunity to enjoy a transcendental situation of jewels and emeralds. Ornaments made of gold, bedecked with jewels, are achieved not by working hard, but by the benediction of the Lord. And then further Prabhupada is saying, in other words, devotees in Vaikuntha world or even in this material world cannot be poverty stricken as is sometimes supposed. So sometimes people think like that once you take to devotional service, once you take to this, you are poverty stricken. Or sometimes they take it opposite also. They think because you are a waste in this material world, you could not work hard and achieve success, that's why you have taken to devotional service. Correct? So either way they will say. If somebody is opulent already and he takes to devotional service, they will discourage him. If you take to devotional service, then all your wealth will go away. Everything will be vanquished. You will become a pauper. You will become poverty stricken. Or in another word, they will say that because you tried a lot in the material world to achieve success, everything you tried and you are not successful, you are frustrated. So then you thought, anyway, this is then further better, I don't have to work hard here. Isn't it? So it's not like that. Prabhupada is saying devotees are never poverty stricken. Either in the Vaikuntha world or even in the material world, they are not poverty stricken. Isn't it a fact? It's a fact actually. Even the most sophisticated person, even the most wealthiest person cannot have opulences like devotees. It's not possible. Every day to have nice prasadam, this is not possible even for the most of the wealthiest person. even they are so busy in their so-called hard work to earn their livelihood, to earn their money, just to increase the bank balances, that they don't even, peacefully get time to even enjoy their breakfast, their lunch or their dinner. You see? Whereas nicely, Maha Prasade Govinde, Namo Brahmane Vaishnave. Very, very mercifully the Lord supplies us nice prasadam. Any worries there? Any devotees having worried today prasadam will be available for me or not? Devotees have no worry. For people, outside people, so much worry is there. Isn't it? Suppose there is a recession in market. Devotees have any worry? People are worrying so much. I'll be thrown out of my job. Isn't it? Just few days back I was interviewing some few people for marketing and for telemarketing. So how desperate they are. Trying to convince situation is not good, in financial position is bad. Please consider all those things. We can see this is how people are. This is how the material world runs. They are not even sure of what is going to happen. Devotees have no such uncertainties. From 2-3 years we are seeing no rains, nothing. Devotees are not affected. You are going and taking prasadam. Are you thinking recession is there in the market? What I am going to eat? See? Nothing. All these anxieties are not crossing devotees' mind at all. Why? Because everything the devotee is confident, even though everything, whatever may happen, the Lord will provide everything. Actually, we are seeing that India is undergoing a very hardship in that sense. And we all know how people are, it is difficult even to get sometimes donations. But in spite of that, we don't find scarcity in the devotees community. We don't find. The Lord provides everything. So that is practically, we can see. And the kind of prasadam we can arrange, none of the hotels can arrange. In the feast time you can see 108 items we are offering to the Lord, Janmashtami time. 56 items, 26 items. Where you get like this? Every day, of course may not be in Hubli temple, at least every day Rajbhog. Isn't it? Or you can see in Jagannath Puri temple, every day, so many times the Lord is eating. Different varieties. In that Anand Bazaar, it is called Anand Bazaar. Because prasadam of the Lord is filled with Ananda. Radha Krishna Gunagao. Correct? Take prasadam and simply chant and dance. See, this is the Vaikuntha life Prabhupada has given us. We should be very appreciative of the kind of life we are having. Temples of the Lord are Vaikuntha. There is no anxiety for the devotees. So this is the difference. Prabhupada is saying that whereas in the material world everything has to be worked out, but in the spiritual world or in spiritual situation everything is possible by the mercy of the Lord. And the other day I was telling about one incident, that actually how sometimes it happens that we get into material platform and we take material anxieties. Actually, we should only work hard and take only spiritual anxieties. Spiritual anxiety, the difference will be, if you take spiritual anxiety, you will not get tired, you will not get desperate, you will not get overworked. If you take spiritual anxiety, your enthusiasm will increase. If you are taking material anxieties, your enthusiasm will decrease. Koi paisa nahi dega, what is the need? Go out. I went so many places, nobody is giving. The more this thing is coming down, enthusiasm, if it comes down in that service, it shows we are taking material anxieties. Actually, if you are taking spiritual anxieties, enthusiasm will never come down. We see how Prabhupada's enthusiasm, how enthusiastic he was. Whether people are hearing, not hearing. 1 year in New York, he preached without external so-called success. Prabhupada was not. Isn't it? And that other day also we were reading, Prabhupada is saying, I don't mind, I never compromise. I'll not compromise just to get disciples. Even if one disciple I get. Then Prabhupada gave example of one sun, one moon, sufficient. I don't want thousands of stars. So I was, when I was chanting on that day, full chanting time, my mind was filled with anxieties. We had to put this slab before Janmashtami, and practically, money is exhausted. So I was very desperately, practically praying to the Lord that what is this happening? I'm not able to even chant properly. And then with that mood I just went to the house around 6:30 from here, and very disturbed in mind. So the Lord is so kind. So I just opened my WhatsApp message at that time, thinking Ram Gopal will send some message. That time his service is there. Sometimes devotees are assigned that services. And immediately one beautiful message lands up, out of nowhere practically. And in many days, none of such messages have come. One devotee had written, it's a book by Prabhupada, book about Prabhupada, Swami in a Strange Land. One of the devotees has written, Prabhupada's disciple, he has written this book. That in our multimedia theater, that one movie was made, no? In that Italian furniture designer, I think it is mostly that, Micro Ferrani or something like that, or another one, I think, another devotee features in that. So he has written that book. So that only one small quote came, that how Prabhupada, when he went to one of the temples in America, so he saw that these devotees were they were presenting the results to Prabhupada. So 50 books, 50 magazines were sold, 100 magazines were sold. And Prabhupada was able to see in the eyes of the devotees that kind of, little frustration that they are not able to sell that many books by which they will be able to maintain the different programs of the temple. But Prabhupada was never trained like that. Prabhupada's consciousness was not like that. He was so much dependent on the Lord, completely dependent on the Lord in that sense. So, Prabhupada, of course, then talked to the devotees, and when one of the reporters came and asked this to Prabhupada, Prabhupada, you are having so many ambitious projects and you are not having that money. How are you going to build those ambitious projects? Prabhupada said, I have no anxiety. If required, I will bring one brick from Vaikuntha. I'll bring one brick from Vaikuntha, and that will be more than enough. It will take care of all my expenses. See? So this is the kind of faith which Prabhupada had in the Lord. So we don't have to worry. Actually, if it is required, Prabhupada will bring one brick from Vaikuntha, and that will be more than enough. 40-50 crore is nothing. You can imagine, this is Vaikuntha world. There Vimanas are made up of gold. So if one small portion of that Vimana we can bring here, it will take care of all our expenses. We don't have to worry. And Prabhupada is there. So that is what Prabhupada is assuring in today's purport. Devotees don't have to worry. They don't have to take that anxiety of so-called hard work, that with hard work we will earn opulences. But of course, that should not be misunderstood to be not working hard for Krishna. We have to work hard for Krishna, but not with material consciousness, not with material anxiety. Rather, Prabhupada says, a devotee should work more harder. He gives the example. Prabhupada says, just like a karmi works to earn money, the devotee should similarly work hard for satisfying Krishna. And we see that in the example of Prabhupada. His life was filled with how his every moment Prabhupada utilized in service of the Lord. Avyartha kalatvam, not wasting his time at all. So, this is what we can understand from today's verse, that everything is attainable by the benediction of the Lord, by the mercy of the Lord. ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय, श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय।